Well, here we are floating in the middle of a space station right in the hub and like looking out for those spaceships. Whoa, that guy's huge. Boy, you just barely missed me. Well, you're probably wondering what the heck are you doing floating in the middle of a space station? Well, it's because we're talking another StarFrontiers video. And this has to do with being in the hub of the StarFrontiers creative world, so I thought, yeah, this is a safe idea to float around in here and avoid ships that are coming into land. So yes, I once had the wonderful opportunity of meeting Larry Elmore, who is one of the most prolific artists for StarFrontiers. And not just StarFrontiers, he had been with TSR for a long time, before StarFrontiers ever existed. He did a lot of great paintings and things for Dungeons & Dragons, for Dragonlance, and I think Gamma World. And then when StarFrontiers came along, he was basically the main guy. Like, there were other artists that contributed to StarFrontiers' works, but when I think StarFrontiers, I'm thinking Larry Elmore's vision. He's on the cover of the boxes. His stuff is sort of throughout all of the rule books. He did many of the greatest module covers that exist. Like, when I think StarFrontiers, I'm thinking Larry Elmore's version. So when I would think of these adventures of, people running through hallways with their Yazarian buddy and their Sathar on their tail and all that kind of stuff, it's like, yeah, I'm thinking in my mind the Larry Elmore version of these things. Fantastic artwork. And I got the chance to talk to him about StarFrontiers many years ago. I wanted to just share that as a quick little StarFrontiers video. So, first of all, Larry Elmore, now I'm not going to go into a big biography. He is a legend in the D&D fantasy role-playing, sci-fi role-playing world. He's attended a lot of events. He's got a huge following. I'm a huge fan of his. Love his stuff. And I loved it back in the 80s. Before we even started StarFrontiers, I remember seeing his cover work for a lot of D&D modules, and I thought, Jeff Easley and all those other guys, they're really good. I know them quite well, but Larry Elmore had a very specific style. In fact, his women had a very distinct look. I always thought of the Larry Elmore woman had a specific kind of a face feature thing that I could always spot a Larry Elmore painting from a mile away. Now, whenever I started with StarFrontiers, I was so pleased to see that woman on the cover with a dude and a Yazarian on an alien planet. What's going to go on? What excitement and adventure is ahead of these characters? Who knows? Let's find out. And you go through the books and you see all of these things that Larry Elmore has written or drawn and painted in some cases, and you're just like, this guy is amazing. Like, he is the artist for StarFrontiers, in my opinion. So, I also remember SnarfQuest? That was a little section at the back of the Dragon magazine. Larry Elmore did that as well. In fact, I think he was running that simultaneously to doing a whole bunch of commission work for TSR. I think he was on their staff. Whatever. I don't know the ins and outs of the business of TSR and how they got all these awesome artists to do all this work, but I remember seeing SnarfQuest and here's a little, I don't know if it's like a pet project that Larry had or what, but he would run this every month. There'd be a new chapter in SnarfQuest's adventure, and it was a great read. It was a lot of fun. It was hilarious, and I loved it. I was like, man, that guy can do no wrong. So there is Larry Elmore, kind of this iconic figure for me in the 80s. Fast forward several decades, and not only did he do the D&D and StarFrontiers stuff, but he also did a Retief cover. Now, I don't know if anybody's watched my video about Retief. This is Retief, Diplomat at Arms. This is a Larry Elmore painting, and I remember loving the Retief books, and when I saw that Larry Elmore had done one, I was like, oh my god, talk about coming full circle. Yeah, Larry Elmore did a Retief cover. And actually, it's interesting that I remember about 2000, 2001, the internet was kind of getting something that I could access easily, and I remember thinking, God, I wonder if you can get any Larry Elmore prints or paintings or stuff like that. And I went to his website, and at the time, that cover, that picture of the bird alien, was actually available to buy, the original painting, for 10 grand. So I was like, okay, well, I like Larry Elmore's work, but I don't have that kind of cash on me. So I don't know, maybe he eventually pulled that and now it's sitting in his art gallery somewhere, or maybe he did sell it. I don't really know, but I just thought to myself, man, Larry Elmore has touched a lot of my favorite worlds. So, Starfrontiers. I go to Comic-Con in 2004, and I go and see all the Star Wars stuff and all the video game stuff, although, admittedly, back then, there wasn't quite the proliferation of video games. There was a little sort of subsection, but it was mostly comics, movies, artists, Artist Alley. And I saw on the docket, Larry Elmore is located at such and such booth. And I was like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta go talk to him. I gotta see the man, the legend in my mind. I gotta talk to him. I gotta see him. So I went there. And he's got his booth out there and a bunch of pictures and stuff. And he was selling and signing prints. And I kind of looked around and like, oh man, there are so many great Larry Elmore paintings here, prints of them. Not the Retief one, unfortunately, and no Starfrontier stuff, but I got to get something. And I thought to myself, it's got to be one that's got that woman, that facial feature thing. So I got this Dragonlance image, and I actually got him to sign it for me, and it was gold, because his signature is very distinctive. So to see him actually say it, or write it out with his own hand, I was just like, this is incredible. And I'm putting in video here of the actual poster, just showing you that is a genuine Larry Elmore autograph that I bought and paid for, and I was on seventh heaven. I was just floating 6 inches above the ground when I was talking to him. It was an amazing experience. Now, how does this all rope into the topic in hand? Well, I was talking to him about what are you doing now? What kind of works are you involved in and all that kind of stuff? And I can't remember what he was saying. I think maybe he was working on a video game, like artwork toward a video game or something. It's a little bit, we're talking, over 15 years ago. The memory's not what it used to be, but I then asked him, do you ever get in touch with Jeff Easley or any of those other guys from the D&D era? And he's like, oh yeah, Jeff and I, actually, what's interesting? Jeff and I just recently were contacted with I think at this time, and people who are real experts on D&D will know better than myself, but I think around the early 2000s, TSR no longer had the license for D&D. In fact, I think they were closing shop. Was Wizards of the Coast in charge at that time? Somebody please let me know. It wasn't yet in the realm of who owns it now. It's not Hasbro. Again, somebody will let me know. But it was exchanging hands, and apparently they had gone through the old offices in TSR and had found tubes of old paintings, the original paintings and artworks and prints and all that kind of stuff. And they had contacted Jeff Easley, Larry Elmore, all the other gang, and said, or Errol Otis, that was another one. They had contacted all of them, and according to Larry, had said, hey, look, we've got your old stuff here. Do you want to come pick it up? Like, no kind of exchange of cash or anything like that. So Larry and crew were like, oh yeah, we'll come on by. We'll pick it up, sure. And now they can reprint or reproduce all of their originals from those paintings and, sell them for keeping the lights on and stuff. Awesome stuff. I'm gonna put a link below to Larry Elmore's website. Fantastic guy. But the pinnacle for me, the ultimate moment, after getting his autograph and talking to him, and it's not like it was a huge, crazy, busy show floor back in 2004. There was hardly that much of a crowd going around. And in Artist Alley, it was sort of, you had the real diehard fans like myself, but not too much of pressure to move on. I could chat with Larry for a little while. And I said to him, I've loved your stuff since I was a kid in the D&D era. And do you remember the game Starfrontiers? And he turned to me and he said, I loved Starfrontiers. That was an amazing experience to delve into space and sci-fi and laser guns and have some aliens, and yet under the guise of okay, well, these have to be playable characters. We can't go crazy with our imagination. And I just had this great moment with him. I'm like, oh my God, Larry Elmore and myself talking Starfrontiers here in Comic-Con 2004. It was pretty cool. It was long after my campaign was dead, long before this YouTube channel existed. And actually, there's a weird Starfrontiers connection as well. It was the year 2004, right? Comic-Con. Early in 2004, February I think it was, Facebook launched. And I have been aware that a lot of people who watch my Star Frontiers stuff are watching it due to a Facebook group that is sort of, I guess, sharing my videos or something like that. So I think that's really cool. Like, the year 2004 has a lot of connection for Star Frontiers and for me and for Larry Elmore, whose autograph that I got. And who can blame him? As he says, I love Star Frontiers. Anyway, gonna finish it off there, so until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.